All right, welcome back. We are here, episode 7 of To The Crib. It's your boy Delix with my man Coach Bishop.
Hey, how y'all doing? Thank you all again for tuning in and watching our show. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down at the YouTube channel so you can continue to get these updates when we post these new podcasts. We're going to have 2 episodes coming to you today. We're going to be covering Sunday football. Also going to touch on the Monday night football games. And then, of course, like on Sundays, we're always going to bring you that betting episode as a bonus episode afterwards. So you're going to get 2 today from us.
Yeah, we're going to go through each game, break down the Sunday slate, also the Monday slate. We're going to do it all in one shot, give you some information, important nuggets of information, so to speak. And then that'll be that episode. Then we'll bring you up the betting episode, which will have a lot of information for making some money.
Exactly.
All right, let's get right into it. We got a lot to cover. First game, Green Bay at Atlanta.
So I actually see Atlanta taking this game, me personally. There's no Aaron Jones today. I just see Atlanta being able to do what they did last week and move the ball with their 2-headed backfield. You got Algier back there. You also have Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson's going to do his thing back there. His name slipped my mind for a minute.
Honey Bijan?
But Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier definitely going to have a good game today. I just see Atlanta taking this thing. It's another home game for them. I think they're going to start their season off 2-0.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean, the line opened up. I mean, we'll just talk about the line for now just to see the game flow of how much of a difference Aaron Jones makes. Line opened up Atlanta plus two, now they're -2.
Right.
So a 4-point swing, which is probably correct. I think Aaron Jones is is probably their best offensive weapon.
Oh, he's by far the best offensive weapon. I mean, he had touchdown rushing last week.
Right.
He had a receiving touchdown last week. He's definitely what helps this offense go.
Yeah.
A.J. Dillon was in the game for him to spell him and did not look good at all. So
he looked like he was carrying a piano on the back.
So this is what I'm saying. So with no Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, I mean, they may not even lean on him. So they might look elsewhere today in the backfield. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Because
interesting
they were using Taylor last week.
They were using Taylor last week, but again, I don't know about his talent really. I feel like he's just a guy. Also, for Dynasty, it's interesting to see who that guy is going to be because they might give that rookie Emmanuel Wilson a look.
Right.
I mean, he made the team.
He did make the team.
So, and shout out to Charles. He was on him. He told me about him. So, I mean, definitely could be something to look out for. A couple things for me. Like you said, Green Bay's run defense was kind of mid. So, I think Atlanta's just going to run the ball down their throats. They're not going to have to rely on Ritter again. Like, that's going to be the game plan all year.
Right.
Again, you're hoping for a pop game from Pitts and Drake London so that you can try to sell them high. But right now, it's not looking good. Drake London is going to be shadowed by Jair Alexander probably. So, again, it's going to be hard game for Drake London.
I mean, and in my opinion, that's not even necessary because Atlanta can't throw the ball. So, Ritter's not the guy. This is probably, after this season, I see them trying to move on and bring somebody else in, drafting somebody.
Can you imagine that with their actual quarterback?
Right. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, that would be serious.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts and Drake London will actually be relevant again.
Yeah, and they have a nice run game and their defense, they had proved it. So, we'll see what happens today. Love had a really good game, but Chicago last week, their defense sucks.
Right.
So, it's going to be interesting to see how Love does as well. So, start sits real quick. You're not starting London, right?
I'm not starting any receiver for Atlanta. They're all out.
Yeah. Green Bay, are you starting A.J. Dillon if you have him?
No, not starting.
I don't trust him either. No.
Yeah. I don't really like starting anybody in this game at all.
I can see fades everywhere.
Yeah, it's a lot of fades. Yeah, I think if I don't really want to put these guys in my lineup. I have some dog shares, but I just really rather sit.
So we're gonna do our betting episode separately, but just for pick'em, so people that are like trying to do a pick'em, we both like Atlanta.
Atlanta, definitely.
Moving on, the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders at Buffalo Bills. I think we both like the Bills here in a bounce back spot.
I do like the Bills in a bounce back spot, but I don't see them. This is a big spread, 8-point spread.
Yeah.
I
Big spread.
don't think they cover it.
Okay.
I think people are forgetting that the Las Vegas Raiders have Devontae Adams. They have Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Touched on it last week. Jimmy Garoppolo is a winning quarterback. So if he's not hurt and he's in the lineup, he tends to find a way. So I think this game actually stays close.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be closer than what most people think. But I do think Buffalo at home is going to be hungry to fix what they did last week. So I think they get the win, but covering is going to be tough.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I can see that definitely happening. Jacobs, I feel like, is going to have huge volume this week. Josh Jacobs, for like battle royales or any sort of DFS, I feel like he's a good exposure spot. And on the flip, I think James Cook is also in a nice spot to possibly pop off. I think there's props out there, leading rusher on the week and 100-yard game, which he's never done. He got 99 yards last year, but he wasn't a full-time player first year. So I feel like this game could be some nice alt props if you want to dip your hands into that. No Jacoby Myers, who stepped up big for them last week. Do you think Hunter Renfrow gets, he has to, right?
You would think so,
yeah.
But I don't necessarily know that for sure.
Yeah.
It is a different quarterback for him. He doesn't have Derek Carr anymore, who was giving him some love.
Right.
But yeah, it was shocking to me that Renfrow got 0 targets last week. So I was actually shocked at that stat. But I think Josh Jacobs is going to be huge today because. Well, if you think about this, last week Buffalo's run defense got exposed by Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook.
Good point.
172 yards rushing was given up to a guy coming off of an ACL injury and Dalvin Cook, who's new to the backfield, and they were both able to make explosive plays. So you give me Josh Jacobs, the rushing leader from last season, versus that defense that looked kind of iffy.
Yeah.
I think Jacobs is primed to have a big game.
Yeah, I totally agree. So there's some French players. Gabe Davis. Are you starting Gabe Davis?
Never starting Gabe Davis. Never rostering Gabe Davis myself.
Okay, so but if you're an owner or a team manager of him, you're definitely hoping to get one of those games where you can try to flip him. Hopefully it's this week.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way. Obviously, Stephon Diggs eats Devontae Adams. You're starting him, obviously.
Starting Devontae Adams, no Myers. You don't not start Devontae. You start Diggs. You start James Cooks to start.
Right.
Josh Allen. Dalton Kincaid is a start. I'm starting him this week in a league. I think he could have a big game as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, all right, moving on. Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati Bengals. A little divisional matchup. This is another bounce back opportunity for the Bengals.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries to the Ravens. The Ravens looked kind of mid in their first game. Obviously, the Bengals didn't look that great.
They looked
So
terrible.
we got some trends going on here. Jamar Chase is always eating against the Bengals, but on the flip, Lamar Jackson always wins.
Yeah,
versus the
6-1.
Bengals.
6-1 lifetime versus the Bengals. I think he's gonna get his second loss today, though. This is a game I see the Bengals winning. I think Jamar Chase is gonna have a great game. Higgins has got to get into the mix.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna start Higgins today. If you have Higgins, you started him last week. You just talked that up as a fluke.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a repeat this week. Joe Burrow, 82 yards passing. I think this team is going to come out and they're going to just be slinging it with the mindset of we got to get our guys rolling.
Yeah.
And me personally, Mixon's maybe not a play this week. I think Roquan Smith is going to help stop the run game. But I just think the Bengals are coming out and they're saying we're going to try to repeat what Tua did. We're just throwing the ball all over the field to anybody, everybody, and they're going to just Burrow is, I think, a must start and somebody in daily that I would want to have.
Yeah, I love the Burrow Chase stacks, and like you said, Higgins could be sneaky as well because he did have a lot of targets last week.
Right.
So he's still getting
8 targets.
Yeah, he's still getting the looks. They're just a bit rusty or whatever. But yeah, I feel like Cincinnati also bounces back. I think they could win. I'm not sure about the spread, but we'll talk about that in the betting episode. You know, Mixon, in my opinion, is still going to get there because he's still going to get volume in the air.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you still, in PPR league, you still might get there. You know,
Right.
But for the running backs on the Ravens side, are we starting either Justice Hill or Gus Edwards?
No, it's a wait and see for me because
Yeah.
I really don't think I know exactly who the guy is yet. I need to see it.
But what about everyone that spent all that money on them?
Oh, they're fab?
Yeah. Blow your wad.
Yeah, that was a lot. There was a lot. This week, there was a lot of people that were out there that people were trying to grab and stuff. And I literally went into the waiver wire myself personally. I felt like I had a lot of good drafts. On my redraft leagues, I'm in 5, and I went 4-1 in redraft leagues.
Mhm.
So, yeah, the one loss I had Higgins, and then I had Cowboy guy, Dak Prescott, and Cooks. So it just wasn't an offensive game for them. So I just was waiting to see. I didn't do any waiver acquisitions. I just let everybody do their thing, and then I kind of went and scooped up some pieces afterwards, and didn't lose any waiver spots. And we'll see.
That's a big pointer. Is don't overreact to the goods. Don't overreact to the lows, bads. You know, it's week 1, about to be week 2.
Mhm.
Like, let's just be patient. It's a long season. You know, things will shake itself out. There's plenty of examples of last year where it was like they were nobodies like Jefferson, Jacob, all those people, and then they ended up just popping off.
Because like I said last week, you still have the guys that aren't in the league yet. These two go out and they struggle this week, and nobody really produces in the backfield. Neither one of them may be the guy. So,
they did activate Melvin Gordon,
right,
our boy, from the practice squad. So he's there too. So yeah, let's stay away from that. Obviously, we're gonna have to touch on Zay Flowers. I mean, he's gonna eat, right? He's gonna have to.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Mark Andrews is out, I think it's still coming down to a game time decision. I don't know if they've made that decision yet.
Right.
I know he's still questionable. So if Andrews is out of the lineup, Zay Flowers is definitely a must play for me.
This morning they came out and said Andrews is playing.
So he is gonna play.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I still would play him though, because he's still questionable.
Yeah. Pretty sure. We gotta check back out now. But yeah, so Seattle at Detroit. Moving on. Seattle at Detroit. Geno bounce back?
It's tough defense.
A lot of bounce backs going on this week.
Yeah, because this defense kind of held back Mahomes last week. Although it was the receivers also dropping passes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think so. Me personally, inside of me, I'm saying that the Lions win this game.
Okay.
I think I have the Lions winning. I don't see a bounce back for Geno as much as I would love it, but I just don't see it. I think the Lions eat. I think Montgomery has another huge game.
Yeah.
I can see Montgomery hitting 100 yards today, actually. So, yeah, I mean.
Honestly, I know it's all kumbaya right now. We're all agreeing each other, but I mean, we know ball. Like,
Right.
Detroit's going to probably win this game because maybe not just because of their defense, but because of their offense. Seattle got exploited. Last week against the Rams.
Right, again by a rookie receiver,
right.
Nakua, and then Tutu Atwell, who's been in the league, ain't done nothing.
Right.
They both put up 119 on these guys, and now you give me Amon St. Brown.
Yeah.
I think Laporta has a great game against these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Goff is going to be huge against these guys because, like you said, they got exploited last week.
And then the 1-2 punch of Monty and Gibbs.
Yeah, it's
tough.
It's going to be tough. Like the Lions, I definitely see the Lions, and they're home.
One thing I will say is I kind of liked what I saw from Kenneth Walker last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see how he builds on that. And if they were like, maybe we should have given him more carries, more love, more touches, because he was actually doing something with his touches. So I think you could play Kenneth Walker, obviously. I think he's a start. I think he has a sneaky potential to be something. He could pop.
He could pop. I mean, because Charbonnet wasn't getting any love last week. Very few touches for him.
Right.
So they pretty much were relying on Walker. Walker had 16 touches last week for 67 yards total. 4 of them were catches. The other thing that we didn't bring up is also you got to think the Lions played on Thursday Night Football, week 1. So
they've had extra time.
They're coming off of 10, 11 days rest for this game. Mm-hmm. So Whereas everybody else is coming off of 7. They got to sit back and watch the game, see what they were coming up with.
Right.
As far as just sit back and watch Seattle and game plan for it.
Yeah.
So
True. I mean, is it JSN time yet or what?
not with Gino. I'm not playing him. I'm not starting GSN.
Right.
JSN. I'm not starting JSN.
Yeah.
Nope. Not start.
Because what about Lockett is out? If he's out.
If he's out,
Because he was being evaluated for concussion all week.
I mean, you can start him. I still want to wait and see. He still is a rookie.
Right.
So, and he didn't really do much in the last game. He had 3 catches for 13 yards last week. So, yeah, I'm still gonna sit on him because DK only had 3 for 47.
So on Seattle side, you're starting,
DK Metcalf. I'm gonna start DK Metcalf for sure. Start Walker.
and that's it.
That's it.
And then obviously on the Lions side, you're starting Amon-Ra, Gibbs, Monty. And if you have Goff, he could possibly.
Goff could slide in, and
Depending on who your other quarterback is.
depending on how your roster's set up and how many flex spots you have, if you have 3 flex spots or if you have to start 3 receivers and 3 flex spots, some leagues are set up differently. Josh Reynolds might be a sneaky play because the Seahawks just gave up 119 to 2 different guys.
Yeah.
And Reynolds went off for 80 yards in week 1 against the Chiefs.
Honestly, I have a league, a redraft league, where I have him in the lineup right now as is.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it, but that you said that now, it kind of gives me more hope.
So Josh Reynolds, I mean, he's definitely a play because we've been talking about the Lions receiving core. Who's going to be the second guy? And week 1, he stepped up. So,
80 yards.
Yeah, 80 yards, 4 catches, 80 yards. I mean, that's a good game.
That.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we both like Detroit. Moving on. Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers at Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I see the Chargers winning this game. Right now the spread's 2.5 points. The Chargers are on the road at Tennessee. No Eckler, probably not in the lineup today. So they're going to be going with Josh Kelly. So, I mean, I still think the Chargers win, but I think this is going to be an air game. Tennessee is one of the best run defenses in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're going to be able to bottle up Kelly. I don't see Kelly having the type of game he was able to have against Miami, who I feel like is weaker in the run game as far as the run defense.
Yeah.
But I think Herbert eats today. Keenan Allen eats. Mike Williams is a good play as well, especially if you wanted to get an underdog and be able to maybe stack him with a Herbert lineup if you do underdog. Yeah, I feel like all the receivers here eat today for the Chargers. And I think Tennessee's going to struggle.
Yeah, so that's going to be the theme all year. Tennessee, when teams that are playing against Tennessee is like a pass funnel, basically. They lock down the run, so you're going to have to pass the ball. Luckily for the Chargers, they have a good quarterback. They have good receivers, so they're going to be all right in that area. Josh Kelly was definitely a hot waiver wire pickup. Super risky to play him this week. If you could have tried to avoid it, do it.
Yeah.
I know you spent fab on him, but you might have to sit him this week.
I was able to pick him up in one league. I did get Joshua Kelly. He actually made it through the waiver claims, then get claimed in the initial pass. So I grabbed him real quick afterwards, so I didn't have to lose my spot. But I'm not playing him this week. So if you picked up Kelly, you're like, oh, I got the perfect handcuff to Eckler. But this isn't a week to pull that trigger. I mean, everything in your instincts is probably telling you, put in Kelly, put in Kelly, put in Kelly if Eckler's out. We're telling you, we don't think this is the week to do it.
Right.
Bad matchup.
Yeah, bad matchup. On the other side, Tennessee, I think we're going to get your request this week. I think
Feed him?
Yeah, I think we're going to feed King Henry
Okay.
more than 14, 15 times. We're going to just feed him the rocks.
So we're going to remember who the Titan is?
Yeah. And honestly, I think he has a chance to go nom-nom.
Right. And we said we were going to touch on the stuff in the betting, but his rushing prop is at 18.5 again. Attempts.
Oh, attempts, yeah.
It's under 20. He's a 20-plus guy.
He should be.
A 20-plus guy. Like.
Right. So, I mean, that's one thing. D-Hop is playing, that's for sure. He's hobbled. He didn't practice all week.
He was hopping around.
Yeah, he's D-hobbling. So with that said, is it Treylon Burks time? It's now or never. Like, he has to like pop up on the box score like a little more, right? I'm saying if it's not now,
If
it's
it's not,
never.
well, I'm leaning more towards the never.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
I
I'm not
think
saying to start him. Don't start him.
And it's to me it's a part knock on him,
Mhm.
but it's Ryan Tannehill.
Right, yeah.
So
It's both. It's a double
it's,
whammy.
yeah. So I'm fading Burks this week. Not starting. I'm not starting Burks in my lineup.
You
Not
can't start
starting.
him after last week. You cannot start him after last week.
Yeah.
But what I want to see, if you have him on your team, you want to see him do something today. If not, then it's looking scary.
If not, he's just you're not even gonna probably be able to trade him.
Right.
He's just that's the guy you're dropping next week in waivers to pick up whoever you want to pick up from this week.
And then, so with that all that said, even more sneakier is Okonkwo. He could be a play. They're gonna need to throw the ball.
If you're streaming tight end, he's definitely in the mix.
Yeah, I like them more without D-Hop there, but again, I think D-Hop's not gonna be like that. His performance is gonna dip a little bit with an ankle injury.
And
It's
Miami's passing game is a different level of passing, and we were able to throw the ball on the Chargers last week, and Smythe was able to eat.
Yeah.
And I feel like Okonkwo is a better talent, so this could be a game where he does go off. I could actually see that and be on board. If you're streaming tight ends, this is definitely a play.
Yeah. Originally, as far as the money line pick, originally I was thinking Tennessee could pull this out, and I still think it's possible because they're a great coach team, and maybe if they do the right game plan, they could pull it out. So it's tough, but I'm gonna go with the Chargers just because I think Harper will find a way. All right, moving on. Chicago Bears at Tampa Bay Bucks.
Tampa Bay is, I've been saying it, I keep saying it, I'm going to continue saying it right now. I'm taking the Bucks.
Yeah.
It's a 2.5 point spread. Bucks are at home. It's coming off a big win against Minnesota to start the season off. And then you got the Chicago Bears coming off of a disappointing loss to the Green Bay Packers in week 1. Where they showed you that they are still who they are. They're not a great team.
Right.
I can see the Tampa Bay's defense is going to be able to bottle them up. And I think the Bucks win. I think the Bucks cover. And I think it's just a great day for Tampa. Start the season 2-0.
Shocker, I agree with you. Because, well, for one, the Bucks D looked really solid. Like you were saying before the season started, you're like, they're still there. They're still the Bucks D.
Still the guys.
They're still going to be really good. And sure enough, they did show that against Minnesota. And I think that's just going to carry over against the turnover machine himself and Justin Fields. As sad as it is for me to say this, I think Khalil Herbert is a sit. He only had like 30% snap rate last week.
Right. It was literally triple. They all had like 30-some%.
And that hurts my soul. But this is not going to be any easier this week against Tampa Bay's run defense. DJ Moore, risky as hell because he's going to be shadowed by Carlton Davis.
Mooney. Must start.
Must start.
He's in my lineup. I have him at the 2 leagues. I'm starting him.
I like it. Sneaky as fuck.
Yeah, he's got a guy that the number 1 DB is going to shadow more.
Yeah.
So that gives Mooney, who's not a true number 1, but he has number 1 receiver talent,
Right.
the option to be able to pick apart the second guy.
And he might be still floating around in your leagues. So.
Right. And Mooney has that chemistry already with Fields.
Yeah.
So, yes, give me Mooney all day. I'm putting him in my lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 catches, 53 yards last week, and a TD. I'll take that this week. Just give me the same thing. I don't need nothing crazy. Just give me a little touchdown. Even if you
a little touchdown.
Yeah, I'm putting him in my flex. Like, give me the 10 points. I feel like he's a 10-point guy. He's going to be a 10-point monster all year.
Right.
Just sitting there getting 10 points weekly with TD upside.
Nice. So, I mean, on the other side of the Bucks, this is an explosion spot for them. The Bears defense showed their ass against the Green Bay Packers last week. We kind of already knew they were going to be one of the bottom 5 defenses in the league. Now, Tampa Bay walks in. Rashad White, I'm keeping a close eye on that guy because he's supposed to pop last week. Didn't really pop. He was mid. This week, going against Chicago's D, Aaron Jones just split up and just shredded. I need to see Rashad White do something.
Right, because we just watched. So the Bucks played week 1. They played Minnesota.
Right.
He got bottled up. And
Yeah.
we'll touch on it later. But then we watched DeAndre Swift on
Right.
Thursday night
Right.
shred Minnesota. Now, with that being said, the Eagles do have like the best offensive line in the league. So
Okay.
it's a little bit different because of what he's running behind versus what they have in Tampa.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely need to see him do something.
Yeah.
I want to see more Aaron Jones looks than AJ Dillon stuff. Like,
Right.
I don't want
100%.
to I need to see some Aaron Jones potential, not the AJ Dillon look that we got against the Bears last week.
Yeah. And battle royales for underdog, I think this is a big spot for Mike Evans
Yeah.
and Godwin. I think Evans could really blow up though. And then for Dynasty, if you're or not even for Dynasty, I mean obviously he's rostered in Dynasty, but Sean Tucker is the backup
Yeah.
to the rookie from Syracuse. He's the backup to Rashad White. He didn't get drafted because he had a heart condition, but he cleared all that. Bucks have him now. If you're in a redraft league and you got, let's say, a deep bench, let's say like, I'd say 7 special spots, or more. Sean Tucker might be someone that you could stash now. That way, if he does pop, you already have him. It's kind of like similar to what we were saying about Puka Nacua before week 1. Roster him now because there's a chance he could blow up and you don't have to spend the money on the waiver. Sean Tucker, for some reason, they like, nah, Rashad White ain't doing it. And they put this kid in and he freaking pops. It might be game over for Rashad White. So
Very true. I think Rashad White will still stay in the mix though.
Right, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, Baker Mayfield's also somebody if you're streaming quarterbacks. Say you went 0 QB, you kind of took everything, you just took whatever quarterback was left. He could be a play this week in fantasy.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're saying Evans is going to go off, Godwin's going to have a great game.
Right, yeah, for sure.
I'm actually starting Baker in a league.
Godspeed. No, I'm just kidding.
But last week I started Sam Howell in that same league because I am streaming quarterback, and everybody was roasting me about not taking quarterbacks when people were taking the second quarterback and the thing. And I was top scorer of the week. So
there you go.
Yeah, streaming quarterback's not a bad thing. You just got to know what you're doing and kind of find the spots and pick and choose when you want to play, who you want to play.
Yeah, and then stay tuned to us.
Exactly.
All right, moving on. Kansas City Chiefs at Jacksonville Jaguars.
Game of the week.
Game of the week?
Game of the week. You got 2 playoff teams, 2 teams that were great last season. They still are great, in my opinion, this year. Chiefs are coming off of that opening Thursday night loss. And they're on the road right now. They're going to Jacksonville, and they're giving 3.5 points.
Yeah.
But I think the Chiefs still take this. It's an AFC team, AFC opponent. Kelsey's back. Chris Jones is back. Everybody's on the field. They're dominant. So they're beating the Jacks.
Okay. We finally disagree. Money line, I think the Jaguars finally pulled it out. I think they're set up for success. It is a big deal that Kelsey's back and Chris Jones. Chris Jones is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, it's
But
huge.
has he been practicing? How's his shape? What's going on with that? It could be a thing. But real quick, I think Etienne's a solid play. I think he's going to get a lot of work. I think obviously Calvin Ridley is, that dude. He's a freaking baller. On the Kansas City side, we got to give Tony a second chance. We're not starting him.
Not starting any of the receivers still. It's still wait and see.
Right.
You're still waiting and see. The most targets anybody had last week was 5. So nobody had more than 5 targets.
And now with Kelsey in the mix.
Kelsey's coming in the mix. Nobody could get more than 5 targets without Kelsey. Now you have Kelsey coming in, target monster. But these 2 teams played in the playoff game last year, and Kelsey had 15 targets. So, yeah, we're going to sit the receivers, see what it looks like with Kelsey, who's the guy. And, MVS led this team in receiving with only 2 receptions last week and 2 targets.
Right.
He was 2 for 48, 2 targets.
Yeah.
And he still had the most yards. So, yeah, I'm going to wait and see, watch it. I'm definitely hoping Rice is the guy.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I have Rice in Dynasty. I have Rice in redrafts. I just have Rice sitting everywhere. Rice for days. But, Yeah, I know. I see what you're saying about the Jags, but I don't agree. I think the Chiefs win this game. I think they cover the spread even, and I don't think it's a big game for ETN. Like I keep doing these underdog drafts, and I'm like trying to fade him. I think one time I got him in the 5th round, though. I just kind of had to pull the trigger. He was still sitting there looking at me. But yeah, Ridley's gonna eat. But yeah, not on board for the Jags. Over under a 51. I don't know. That's high.
We'll talk about it later.
Mm.
But I mean, Zay Jones, you're starting, right?
Yeah, I'm starting Jones. I'm sitting Kirk.
Sitting Kirk, starting Zay Jones, starting Ridley, starting ETN. You're starting Ingram. I like Ingram a lot this week as well. He had a good volume last week. You know, he'll take it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start all my Jaguars. The only ones I'm sitting is Bigsby, and I'm gonna sit Kirk.
Right.
Other than that, they also be in your lineup. Kirk's the hot take because you drafted him so high.
Wheels up for Kelsey.
Yeah.
You can't worry about it.
You can't worry about it. Kelsey is wheels up. I have a couple underdog lineups in the drafts where I got the stack.
Yeah.
Mahomes and Kelsey.
Yeah, same.
So you definitely on that stack. I'm looking forward to my weeklies. I have that stack a couple times.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I would love to see the Mahomes Kelsey pop this week. I feel like it'll make me some money.
Over under 0.5 twerks by Kelsey. I'm taking over.
I'll take the over.
All right, Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans.
Battle of the rookies. Me personally, I was talking to you about this game earlier. Houston Texans, I think they win this game. It should be a close game, but over under is 39.5, so this is going to be a struggle. It's pretty much what they're telling you. It's going to be hard for either one of these teams to score. I feel like the Houston Texans have the better talent around their quarterback, and they're at home. So give me the home team with a rookie quarterback who had to play week 1 on the road in Baltimore, and the game was a lot closer than it looked. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take the Houston Texans. Give me C.J. Stroud versus Richardson now having to go on the road where he lost at home week 1 to the Jags.
Yeah, there's another one we disagree on.
That's fine.
Yeah, I know it's fine. I'm just saying, like, I think it's going to be closer. It's going to be a close game. It's kind of like 50-50 to me, but I think Indianapolis will pull it out. I like AR. I like what I saw from him. I like what I saw from Shane Steichen to, like, scheme up the offense for him. And then I think Michael Pittman is going to eat again this week versus Houston. On the other side, Houston does have a good spot for their passing game, which brings me to say there could be some Tank Dell sightings this week.
Yes, Tank Dell.
Noah Brown, which for some reason was the wide receiver 3, he is now on the IR. So now they're like, Tank Dell is officially our wide receiver 3.
Yeah, Tank Dell had some play in preseason. He caught my eye.
Yeah.
He's definitely a threat. Somebody who eventually is going to be a monster and somebody that you're going to want to make sure you have some shares of somewhere. I do, and yeah, I'm excited for it. And like you said, this is what I'm saying. C.J. Stroud had 44 pass attempts. He threw for 242 yards last week against the Ravens defense. No Marlon Humphrey this week. Yeah. Oh, Marlon Humphrey Ravens, but yeah, give me the Texans this week.
Yeah, I was thinking Dameon Pierce might be a sneaky play. I mean, you got to start him, right?
Yeah, you start Pierce.
You start Dameon Pierce. He could pop. There could be a chance of him popping as well. He could be interesting for battle royales also. All right, moving on. We got San Fran 49ers at Los Angeles Rams.
Give me the San Francisco 49ers.
Me too.
They're laying 7. I don't know about that part, but yeah, San Francisco 49ers. I like this matchup for them. They are on the road though, but I mean, they are definitely the dominant team. They have the best talent. They have playmakers everywhere. So yeah, I like the 49ers, and their defense is phenomenal.
Yeah. You gotta feel comfortable taking the 49ers in this situation against the Rams. I mean, it is a divisional matchup. The Rams did look better than I thought they would look against another divisional matchup last week. I will say Matthew Stafford was in his bag. He was throwing the ball like vintage. Like he was doing all kinds of arm angles. He was just dropping dimes on Seattle. He looked good. He looked really motivated. The team looked motivated. So they're gonna put up a fight. Like you said, I don't know about the 7 points. So we'll talk about that later again. But one thing I will point out is the Rams are gonna be playing more zone.
Right.
They're not equipped to play man to man really. They're gonna play a lot of zone. I think Debo has a good game as opposed to Ayuk.
Yeah,
They both do well, but I think like there's gonna be the Debo game where I feel like he's gonna boot more explosive. If you're thinking about DFS or if you're thinking about battle royales, I think he might be the play because people are gonna be on that Ayuk high.
Yeah.
You know.
He's gonna be. Ayuk's gonna get a lot of people, the fans vote, but Debo is definitely still Debo. Let's remember that. Like he might come in and Debo the production that Ayuk had last week.
Speaking of Debo, is Kyron Williams Debo that running back spot from Cam Akers?
I think he's pretty much got it. It was almost a 50-50 as far as their rush attempts last week. So that's actually what I have written down here as well. Yeah, I think it's going to be Williams, but neither one of them is going to look good today. I don't feel like either one of them looked good last week. They really didn't have good averages. Sit them both. You're playing 49ers. You sit them both. I'm not liking the Rams in this matchup. Stafford he was slinging the ball last week, but no touchdown passes. Right. You had 2 guys with 119. Neither one of them could get in the end zone. It was all in the run game. So that's definitely something I'll keep my eye on too.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Puka Nacua, not only was he going through a injury all week, which people were freaking out, like, oh no, he's not going to play. They're saying that he probably will play, but now you got to go against San Francisco defense.
Right.
Not a good look.
It goes back to the whole Joshua Kelly thing. Picking up Joshua Kelly, just bad matchup, just bad timing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you should start him. I don't think you start Puka. As great as he had 15 targets, he might get volume. It's gonna be tough.
But it's easy to say that because you got to look what the 49ers defense did to all the weapons that the Pittsburgh Steelers have.
Right, I know.
It shut it all down.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got not starting any of the Rams.
That was one of the hardest ones for me to decide is whether to start him or not. And I think the injury helped me like kind of get over that fence. Like, I'm not starting him. Yeah. So as much as I love Puka and we helped you out in week 1, I'm telling you to fade him this week. All right.
There goes the up and downs.
Yeah, fantasy football. There you go. You gotta ride the wave. You gotta adjust. You gotta adjust your priors. You gotta always be changing, evaluating, assessing. All right. So moving on, we got the New York Giants at the Arizona Cardinals.
So first thing I want to say is we're rolling into these 4:00 games right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If you need to take a nap, this is the time to do it. This is not a good slate for 4:00. Like 4:00 is gonna be brutal this week. Yeah. I mean, the best game was the one we just covered: 49ers and Rams.
Probably, yeah.
But Giants and Cardinals, I'm taking the Giants.
Yeah.
They just ran into a buzzsaw last week. The game just started off terribly. They actually went down and got into field goal position against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And then you have a block for a touchdown. Just Barkley getting hit, the ball coming out on the pass attempt, run that back to the house. Just really bad situation. I've actually coached games where you're on that side. Been on both sides.
Yeah. And
it just a game can get out of control in the first quarter, and you're just looking at it, and you're just like, it's not our day.
Yeah.
Like,
get us out of here.
Field goal. Yeah, the guy catches the ball, gets hit, popped up, run it back. You're just like, okay, we just gave up 2 touchdowns like that. This is just not. It's hard to overcome stuff like that, and just the mentality of it. And then against a great defense like what the Cowboys had, I feel like the Giants are coming out for some revenge against the Cardinals.
Yeah,
and I feel like they're gonna take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, again, the Cardinals were kind of like the Rams, but they didn't look as bad as we thought they were going to be.
Right.
They had a lot of fight in them.
They did. Literally.
Yeah. Kudos to the head coach on that one. Everyone was giving him shit about his little fiery speech that he had. But, I mean, he got him motivated. But, yeah, the Giants are just set up to, bounce back on this game. I love Saquon Barkley here, obviously. I think he could get over 100 yards if you have like a 100-yard game prop sitting out there. Obviously, they're going to be a popular survivor pick.
Yes.
And honestly, it could be chalky, but I feel like I think it's a good time to do the Giants this week because looking at their schedule going forward, it's not looking good.
Yeah, because they're in a tough division.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as chalky and as, consensus as it is to take the Giants this week, I think you just do it. Just do it. Just run it, and, you're not going to have a better opportunity to use them than today. So, that being said, Darren Waller is someone that's fringy to me just because of his injury situation.
Yeah, but he's come out too and said he's gonna play.
That's cute.
Yeah, I think he wants to prove
He's gonna
people.
play.
Right, I think he wants to prove to people that he's gonna play through it and he could actually be productive. Last year he dealt with that injury.
Is he going to be successful in proving that?
Yeah, he needs. I think he needs to be for the Giants to win today. Otherwise, who else is catching the ball?
Darius Slayton.
No, my goodness.
You heard it here first.
Slayton?
I mean, that's the only guy I can think of.
Because Hyatt didn't do anything last week.
Yeah, someone's got to do something.
Yeah. Daniel Jones definitely needs somebody to get the ball to in this game. So it's a let's see. This is kind of another one of those. Let's see if anybody pops off for the Giants because you may be hitting your waivers this on Tuesday looking for one of those Giants receivers if somebody goes off today.
Yeah, none of them are rostered.
None,
basically.
None of them. You only roster in Waller and Barkley.
It's wild. My best ball shares would love for a Slayton pop.
Yeah, I got Hyatt.
I got some Hyatt too. But on the Arizona side, just ugly, right?
Yeah.
Like Joshua Dobbs ain't cutting it for me.
No, he's not. Yeah.
Marquise Brown, sorry.
Yeah, he had a good game last week though, but
Yeah, I think
he is the only weapon.
Yeah, I think you gotta sit everybody, right?
Yeah, you said everybody.
Zach Ertz.
Yeah, Zach Ertz had 10 targets, I believe.
He had a lot.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later, but yeah.
But
I
still sit Ertz. I probably played Marquise Brown just because somebody's got to do something. And you're still playing Connor. Connor was definitely the workhorse last week. So Connor's definitely going to get production. So you start Connor in fantasy, and I could see starting Marquise Brown as well.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we got the New York Jets at the Dallas Cowboys.
I love the Dallas Cowboys in this matchup. I think they have the potential to go out and just shut down all of New York. This could be back-to-back shutouts against both New York teams. That'd be wild. Spread's 8.5. I like the Cowboys to win. Even though I'm talking about a shutout, I don't see it being a shutout game. It's hard to shut teams out in the NFL because they're so talented if you make it to this level.
Yeah.
I kind of see the Jets with a backdoor cover here somewhere. I see them being able to cover 8.5 points. I mean, that's a lot of points. 8.5 is one of those things, like I've said before, teams, you can win by, it's like usually win by 10. So essentially, you get a free point here with the 8.5 points. So yeah, I like the Jets to cover and with the 8.5, but I'm going to take the Cowboys to win this game.
Yeah, I like Dallas to pull that out, and I could see the Jets covering as well. One thing I will say is I think Breece Hall is sneaky here. Obviously, we saw how explosive he was last week.
Right.
And, Dallas is going to be all over. They're going to be freaking all over Zach Wilson. They're going to be blitzing the crap out of him on that horrible offensive line. It's going to look ugly, but I just feel like they need to establish the run. So I feel like to counter, how they, bring up Michael Parsons, let him run up and then kind of cut up underneath him. Kind of one of those kind of
like
things.
A counter. Counter play. Get a kick out.
Yeah, so I feel like Hall's going to be used, and he's going to have to, I think they're going to, use him, lean on him a little bit. Garrett Wilson, though, is going to be a tough matchup, going up. I mean, he's a beast. So we saw last week he could do all kinds of things, even the ball was thrown. He just made it happen.
Yeah.
So he still might make something happen, but it's going to be tough.
It's going to be a negative game script. So Zach Wilson, I could see reaching 30 pass attempts in this game just because they're going to have to be playing catch up, I think.
Yeah.
Or just to stay in the game. But Michael Gallup, somebody, if Brandon Cooks is out, that I'm interested in watching. And especially kind of pay attention to Cook's injury, see how long that's going to be lasting. Because Michael Gallup's not that bad, and I feel like he's got something to prove coming off of his own injury.
I mean, so I think Brandon Cooks being out is actually bigger than people might imagine because he is a field stretcher. So
yeah,
the way I see this game playing out is going to be ugly. So I see both defenses dominating. Honestly.
Yeah, I have under, and the spread it's 38.5, and I'm saying under.
Yeah, so I mean I don't trust Dak. Never have. I think Dak's a fraud. I don't trust him. I could see the Jets defense actually dominating too. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Whitehead, they're all there still. All the defensive linemen are going to be ready to rock and roll. Quentin Williams, like they're hungry too. That defense don't play.
But Whitehead just got fed $250,000. Is he still hungry?
Yeah, he's hungry. No, that defense is not playing around. I could see them getting sneaky with it, bro. Like, what if they start doing their defensive touchdowns?
I got you.
So like, I don't trust that.
Well, we've talked about it. I'm fading the Cowboys. I'm not taking them in Survivor because I feel like that's going to be the
trap
you pick. Right. It's a trap game where if you're in a Survivor pool, we're in a Survivor pool with started with 2,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I could take out half the field right now because everybody putting their money on the Cowboys. And I don't want to be in there with 900 people picking the Cowboys. I'd rather pick somebody else and be able to root for the Jets. So
careful.
Yeah, careful.
But yeah, TD upside for Pollard, obviously, because he's going to be on the goal line probably at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And they use him. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think CD Lamb's risky, but hey, whatever. We'll see what happens. You're going to start him, but I don't know. Jets, you started Garrett Wilson, though? You have to.
Yes, you started Garrett Wilson.
Started Breece Hall, right?
You started Breece Hall.
I'm starting Breece Hall. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. There's an argument to even still starting Dalvin Cook depending on your situation.
All right. CeeDee Lamb, you started him.
You started him.
Pollard
started him.
So is Ferguson to play?
I mean, he was the target leader for the Cowboys last week, so
and he's in the mix zone too.
Right, so he's in the mix. Definitely, if you're looking for a tight end, he's definitely somebody I can see you starting him.
Okay, nice. All right, moving on. We got Washington Commanders at Denver Broncos.
Right now, Broncos are 3.5-point favorites, and I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
Commanders win this game.
Okay.
Commanders start the season 2-0. I feel like they're going to go into Denver. I just don't like. I don't like the Broncos. The Broncos I don't feel like are a good team. Russell Wilson is not the answer. He's hurting the team, I feel, and I see the Commanders going in and winning this game.
I actually do see the Commanders winning as well. Love the 3.5. I mean, that was probably the easier play to just take the hook. But, so on the Washington side, Dotson, explosion?
Yeah, I think Dotson has a chance to have a good game. I mean, but Dotson's always that guy. He is a great player. I feel like Dotson's always should be in your lineup.
Yeah. I mean, so here's what I'm saying is that as Denver, who are you putting Surtain on?
If McLaren's in the lineup, they have to put Scary Terry. He has to guard Scary Terry.
Okay. So you say have to. I say, is it a have to? But whatever. We'll just chalk it up to has to. That makes me want Dotson even more.
But it could be an in-game adjustment too. So maybe they go into the game and they're thinking, okay, Dotson is probably the guy we need to be watching out for. And then Scary Terry gets 3-4 catches in the first quarter. Defensively, you just make an adjustment. You just, all right, I need you on Terry.
Yeah, whoever Mathis is covering, the second corner is lights. It's wheels up.
Yes.
So
1,000%. And I feel like
it's gonna be Dotson.
Yeah,
we feel like Dotson's gonna tear it up. He actually did really well last week. He was tearing up the field. His stat line didn't really show it, but if you watch the film, he was tearing it up. Brian Robinson is taking over that backfield as well against. Antonio Gibson.
The fumble by Gibson last week down in the red zone, that didn't help.
Yeah.
That helped Robinson owners, which is what I am in 3 leagues. So, I love me some Brian Robinson.
Jerry Judy's back for the Broncos.
Not playing him.
No, you can't play him. You got to wait and see on that one. And, I have a note here. Also, Chase Young is back for the Washington. So
Yeah.
that's going to be, he's just going to be terrorizing Russell Wilson.
Exactly.
It's going to be a tough matchup. Do you start Javonte Williams?
No. But I was fading him, even in my redrafts. That was somebody in my mind. I don't want to have to make those decisions because I know you're going to come into these days like this and these weekdays and you're like, man, should I start him? Should I not? I just was trying to avoid all the guys that I knew would be questionable starts weekly were just off my draft board.
Okay.
I was just like, I don't want to put myself in a position where I have to figure out. So rather than drafting somebody like a Javonte Williams coming off of the injury and having to make decisions weekly, I would rather drop pop guys to see if they would pop. And then be able to have exposing guys and be like, wow, now this guy's like a league winner.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if he's not, you just cut bait.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Right, exactly.
Right.
And I feel like Javonte's not a league winner, so I wasn't taking him.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you're drafting for redraft, you kind of don't want to take like average players. Like, oh yeah, like high floor people. Like, it's cool, but we're not trying to get average. We're trying to win.
Right.
So you want explosive players on your team. That being said, Javonte Williams might get there at some point during the season. So, and you didn't really spend that high of a draft pick on him. He's in the middle rounds, 8th round or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying this week, just let's wait to see again.
Yeah, for me, because P. Ryan got about the same amount of work as he did. P. Ryan was better in the receiving game, and they did about equally rushing. So I'm not sold on Javonte being 100% back yet.
Yeah. Another tight end streamer that I think is viable here is Adam Troutman. Dulcich is out. He's off on the IR now. And, Troutman got looks last week. So, why not?
Well, and then also for the Commanders, Logan Thomas is in my lineup. If I have Logan Thomas, I'm starting Logan Thomas.
Yeah. Basically, every tight end is streamable.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We got the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots.
2.5 point spread. I'm taking the Dolphins. I feel like the Dolphins that offense is definitely the scariest offense in the NFL right now. There's just way too much speed and way too much to worry about. And yeah, whatever you're worried about, we're just gonna, whatever you say you don't want to happen, we just take the other thing. It's real easy. This could be a big game for Waddle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it could flip. Waddle had 4 for 78 last week.
Yeah, nothing to sneeze at.
No, and nobody talked about it. It's all Tyreek Hill had 215. But Waddle could put up 215. And Hill can get 78.
Right.
This is a game. I love Miami. Everybody's in your lineup. The only one I will not play, and be careful, is Smythe. Last week Smythe had a good game. You might be able to think, oh, in this offense they're gonna throw the ball. He's a great streamer play. The New England Patriots, Bill Belichick's, one of his things he loves to do is take your tight end away from you. It's like he had Gronk for all those years and he knows how dangerous of a position that is or something. But he just goes in the games like, I don't care what happens, but your tight end ain't getting nothing today.
Yeah.
And when they played the Eagles last week, Goddard had 1 target.
Yeah.
Nothing. No catches, no yards, 1 target. So even though Smythe, you might be like, oh man, that guy balled last week. I'm streaming tight end. Let me put in Smythe this week. I wouldn't do it. Pick another guy.
Yeah. We said every tight end is streamable. Just kidding.
Smythe is not this week.
Obviously, we're just kidding about that. But I have here Waddle bounce back. As far as like bounce back, he could blow up this week.
Right.
Like I said, Smythe is risky. Mostert, risky.
Yeah.
Super risky. They have a really good run defense. Don't see him getting any passing work really, right?
No, because I think Ahmed had more targets than him. So
I'm wary of that one. I think Mostert could be a sit this week.
He might be.
Yeah.
But he's in that little range, actually later range. You probably didn't drop him until like the 10th or 11th round.
Right, no, exactly.
So he's an easy sit.
But on the other side, the Patriots, Ramondre Stevens is in a great spot. We just saw Eckler and Josh Kelly go off on the Dolphins. Like we said, they play a lot of zone. They're gonna have a lot of dump offs and then probably just take what we give them.
Right.
So I think Ramondre's in a great spot. Not love, but I think also Hunter Henry's in a great spot. We're not the best against the tight end either.
No, we're not. Ramondre, you play Ramondre, you play Hunter Henry against us.
Right.
Um,
The last one.
I will say this though, we are gonna have the Miami Dolphins will be better against the run this week. So be careful. You have to understand the Chargers are a great team. They have great passing. They have a great quarterback and great receivers. That could also have been something where we're just more focused on making sure we shut down the pass game and not let the receivers eat and saying we'll just give you the run. But with these receivers of Juju and Bourne and stuff, I think Miami's secondary easily can dominate that. So they're not going to need as much help from like linebackers and people dropping back off on the ball. So I feel like they'll be able to have emphasis on shutting down the run this week. So, yeah, I think Ramondre gets his in the pass game. I don't think it's going to be a great week, though. Me personally, in my opinion.
I'm starting Kendrick Bourne as well. I think like you said, it's gonna have to be over the middle. I think he's, set up for that. So, I think Ramondre, Hunter Henry, and Kendrick Bourne are all starts in my opinion. And then on the other side, I think Waddle Hill are starts, but Mostert, not so much.
Not so much.
And Smythe, not so much. All right.
And then if you have extra bench spots and you want to kind of have some wait and see guys, bury those if you wanted to maybe stash them. And Craycraft, they both had 5 targets each and they were both productive, and Berrios had end zone targets and Craycraft scored. So
Cray.
Yeah, everybody's in a mix. Like, we spread the ball to everybody. Tua gets the ball to everybody. It's not just one person. Last week was one person, but you had other people catching passes.
Right. All right, moving on. We got the New Orleans Saints.
Monday night
football. New Orleans Saints at Carolina, the first of a doubleheader. At Carolina Panthers.
Give me the Saints. They're -3 right now.
Give me the Saints.
I'd take the Saints. They have a great defense. You got rookie quarterback. They struggled last week against the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, this is easy. Chalk it up. Saints to dominate this game.
Yeah. I think Saints also have a really good run defense, so I think Miles Sanders is a risky play. I know he had a decent game last week. They gave him a lot of touches, so he still could get there on, volume. I love Bryce Young's interception prop. I'll talk about that later. New Orleans is in a good spot. I think Jamal Williams gets a TD. I think this is a TD upside, TD prop for Jamal Williams. I think their passing's in a good spot. Olave, Thomas, Rashid. If you have Juwan Johnson, you're not starting him this week just because we saw last week he's 4th on the pecking order, basically. So, is Derek Carr really going to support 4 different people? I don't know. I don't think so. So, you're sitting Juwan Johnson, in my opinion. Hayden Hurst, I think you got to roll with it.
I roll with it.
You got to roll with it. He was their tight end 1, maybe, last week, or 2.
He was up there because he scored a touchdown and he caught 5 passes for 41.
Yeah,
so
he had 7 targets.
So he does 15 points right there.
Right. So we're both in agreement. The Saints pull this one out on Monday night, but it is going to be a close one. I feel like, on the road Monday night, 2-0 Saints.
Yeah.
All right, last game on the slate. The second Monday night game, Cleveland Browns at Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow. I'm taking the Browns again. I think both road teams win on Monday Night Football this week. I'm excited to have 2 games here for Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be watching them both. But, I'll take the Cleveland Browns. You got to understand, they dominated the Cincinnati Bengals last week. They only gave up 157 total yards to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Jim Schwartz has them boys rolling.
Right. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you just came off of playing the 49ers, and now you got to roll in and play that defense is coming to town to come to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not excited.
Yeah. You're about to get the double crossover from Myles Garrett.
Yeah. Be careful, he might be throwing helmets again.
Little spin move.
Yeah. But if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm sitting everybody. If you have Steelers, you sit them all. Najee's not in your lineup again.
Nope.
That was one of the things we talked about going into drafts. We were talking about were we both fading Najee Harris way too much. Prime example, week 1, told you sit him. We were right. Week 2, me personally, we haven't really talked about it, but I'm sitting Najee Harris again. Not playing him.
It's
None
gonna
of them.
be yuck for the Steelers.
Yeah, not gonna be pretty.
I would say Allen Robinson probably leads the team in targets today
Yeah.
or Monday, but still, it's not something you're going to be excited about. On the other side, Amari Cooper popped up with a aggravated groin injury. He might not even play.
Right.
So Elijah Moore is going to get a lot of looks, even more looks.
But that also brings back DPJ. Now
yeah.
into the mix. So Elijah Moore definitely is, I feel like, a must start.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want to start him.
Chubb.
Chubb's going for 100 again.
Yeah.
Like this is, I don't see him not getting 100 yards. So give me Chubb for 100. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean defense is wheels up for the Browns, and we both like the Browns Monday night. All right, I mean that wraps it up for our Sunday breakdown. Hopefully you'll tune in and get some useful information and win your leagues and win some money with us.
Exactly, and be able to take it to the crib. We're going to come back at you with another episode here coming after this one. We're going to give you all your betting. We talk survivor pool, player props, and give you all that information as a little separate segment that we like to do on Sundays for you.
All right, that's it for us on episode 7. To the crib.